Hi, welcome to Mood Food with Melissa. I'm Melissa, and I'm so excited to be making one of my favorite recipes with you today. We're going to be making my roasted spaghetti squash noodles, which is really just a fancy way of saying shredded spaghetti squash. It's a really easy recipe, so make sure you have your oven ready to go because this is going to be ready to go into the oven before you know it. So to get started, you're just going to need a spaghetti squash, about medium sized, but this recipe will really work with any size squash. You'll just need to kind of adjust the cooking time and pay close attention, but we'll get there. So to start, we'll just cut this in half, and we're going to cut it in half around the middle here. And you can see I just kind of pushed my knife in a little bit into the skin to get a grip on it, and now I'm just gonna push it straight through. And that's going to give us these two beautiful pieces. And in here, you can see that the fibers of the squash are running this way around the inside. And that's why, even though it kind of looks fancier to cut it lengthwise, it's better to do it this way because that's gonna give us nice long strings, which will be more of that noodle experience rather than just your typical kind of short pieces of spaghetti squash that you get with a roasted spaghetti squash dish. So we're actually not even gonna take the seeds out either. We're gonna do that at the end, which will make it even easier. We're just gonna take a sheet pan here, and we're gonna drizzle it with about a tablespoon of olive oil. It doesn't need to be exact. You're just gonna want enough underneath here that it won't stick to the pan as it's roasting. And we're also gonna add about a teaspoon of that beautiful Duxbury salt that I love. And as with every recipe I use this in, it's the minerals that are gonna do the work for us. It's a really, as you can see, we're just putting olive oil and sea salt, but that's all you really need when you're working with really great ingredients. So we have our beautiful sea salt, a little bit of olive oil, and then we're just gonna place these face down, and we're gonna give them a little spin in the olive oil just to make sure that it's nice and evenly coated on the bottom. So we're gonna pop this into the oven for about 45 to 60 minutes, but that's gonna depend on the size of the squash, the moisture content, the oven you're using, so many different factors. So after about 30 minutes or so, you're going to start checking the squash. And when you check it, you're just going to gently press the outside. And when you feel a little bit of give, but you don't want it to squish straight through, that's how you'll know that we have a nice al dente noodle situation going on here. So we're gonna pop this in the oven. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So our squash is all set and out of the oven. I'm gonna show you how I know it was done. So you can see when I'm squeezing this here, there's a little bit of give in the flesh on the outside, but you can still feel the firmness of the squash underneath. And that's how you're going to know that it's nice and al dente. If it's too soft, we're going to have just mushy noodles, so to say, but you're not going to get that firmness that provides the definition that keeps them really nice and stringy and noodle-like rather than kind of collapsing into themselves. So I told you earlier we didn't need to take the seeds out while it was cold because it's easier when it's hot. So all you have to do is take a spoon here, and you're gonna see that you'll just naturally be able to see and feel that there's a separation between where the seeds are and where the strings are. So you'll be able to easily just kind of get in here with a spoon, and everything's nice and softened by the oven. So you can just scoop them out. We'll transfer them to this little dish over here. And you'll get a few strings too as you're removing the seeds, but that's nothing to worry about, and it's just a lot easier to do it this way. Just go ahead and get these seeds out. So you can see there's a ton of steam coming off of these squashes, and that's because we have essentially steamed them even though we roasted them. And we did that because that's gonna keep it nice and tender. We're gonna get a moisture content that's gonna give the noodles a really nice noodly texture rather than getting too dried out and crispy, kind of like these edges, these pieces on the edges here. So my hands are pretty used to the heat, so this doesn't bother me to work with them while they're still a little steamy, but definitely if you have sensitive hands or just regular, not chef hands, wait till they cool down to do this. But when you're ready, you're just gonna take a fork and gently pull at these strings here. And you're not going to wanna do this too aggressively. You don't really wanna tear the strings. You want to kind of leave them as intact as possible. So you're really just gently separating the strings here from the shell around the edges. And again, you'll be able to naturally feel where that barrier is between the strings and the shell. So you're just moving around, you're separating the strings from the shell. And then once you have them mostly separated from the shell, you can go ahead and just kind of knock them out like this. And really what you're focused on here is just trying to not do too much to these noodles, which are very, very steamy. So you want to leave them really intact. So just going around the edges and then letting them just fall out is going to give you this nice spaghetti-like texture. So one of the best ways to use this is just as a simple pasta alternative, but I also love to use it as an addition to salads, which is a little unexpected. I like to chill it and then serve it with baby arugula, some sliced apples, a honey Dijon dressing. It makes a really nice fall salad with some unexpected textures in the mix. And one of my favorite ways to use this is kind of a rice noodle alternative. I make a delicious Thai almond noodle dish, which I'll be showing you how to make in one of my other episodes. And this is a beautiful base for that. So you can use this recipe in all kinds of different ways. It's a great pasta alternative. You can use it in salads, and really just feel free to get creative with it. You also don't really need to do too much to it to use it. If you're going to store it, I do recommend tossing it in just a little bit of olive oil to prevent it from getting too starchy in the fridge. But if you're going to use it right away, I don't think you really need to add any additional olive oil. You can just rely on your sauce for that. So I hope that you enjoy making this recipe at home. And of course, you can find it along with all of my other recipes at moodfoodwithmelissa.com. Thanks for cooking with me. I can't wait to do it again.